Good morning, dear friends. Here we are for another study of the book Right Path by the Spirit Emmanuel through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier. What a blessing to be with you this morning. And today we're going to talk about chapter 39. Chapter 39 is titled In the Systems of Faith. In the System of Faith. Isn't that a beautiful title for a chapter? I'm going to put it here so everybody knows what we're talking about if they join us later. And if you're joining me live or on demand, welcome. Please make sure, leave your comments, questions for us. We are always monitoring. It's always a blessing and an honor to be with you, to dedicate these moments to listen to the guidance of the superior spirits who through their dedication has brought to us this teaching. So today's chapter 39 in the systems of faith. What does Emmanuel says? He will talk about his quote is, "The universe lives on a system of faith. In such a system, the earth rotates on its own axis and advances in the cosmic space through perfect cycles of movement and life. Automatically, the atoms effect their own particular transformations and sustaining nature's economy. Mechanically, the plant develops towards the sun, and the animal will create its nests using principles of intelligence." Here he is giving us examples of the faithfulness that we see all around us, all around the universe. It starts with Earth, goes all the way down through the atoms, and then gives the example of the plant that is growing towards the sun, that is sensing the presence of the sun and faithfully grows towards it. And the animal, using its intelligence, will find building materials on the earth so that it can build its nest. He will explain to us, it is clearly possible to classify gravitation as being thrust that is wisely oriented. Attraction, remember attraction of the atoms, defined as thrust magnetically directed. Heliotropism, expressing truth in its impulsive, and the rudimentary intelligence expressing itself in a determined degree of instinctive trust. So, all of the elements of the nature, from the earth that rotates on its own axis, following all the laws of physics created by God and implemented by the superior spirits, as we see in the book Evolution into Worlds, ultimately is trust directed, wisely oriented, to know that God is giving you and I and the instruments in the material world and the spiritual world, giving us the resources that we need. Divine providence is supplying you and I with all the resources that we need right now. So he talked about nature, and I will invite you to today look around your area. When you're walking or driving somewhere, watch the trust that the little bird has in looking for its food and building its nest for its young, or the little seedling that we have planted, and you put the seed down on the earth. First, it experiences darkness, solitude, but it has all the information within itself to become the tree. So you look at the seedling and think about all the mechanism that goes behind growing towards the sun. Now he's going to talk about you and I. He's going to say, paradoxically, only humans sometimes declare themselves without faith, don't we? We say, I don't have faith. I don't believe in this. He will tell us, though, yet even without faith, they think trusting in their brain apparatus. They speak, trusting the vocal cords. They practice crafts, trusting their hands. They eat, trusting the gastrointestinal system, and so on and so forth. He will tell us everything in life harmonizes in resources of trust. Even if we don't cautiously have faith, we are doing things that put our trust, our faith in the mechanisms that we have to express ourselves on this earth. So he did talk about everything. So we can talk about our experience on the earth, and we can imagine the multitude of expressions of experiences and lives that we can see in the infinite universe that we don't understand or detect with our normal instruments of science yet. We are able to just imagine, use our imagination to know the infinite possibilities of life and its expressions, all revolving, as he says in the first line, the universe lives on a system of faith, because the universe is created by God, and we trust in God, that God will provide to you and I all the resources that we need in our lives. The Spiritist doctrine comes to awaken creatures to reasoned faith, which does not dispense with precise logic and discernment, so that the human conscience is sufficiently educated without the naivete that surrenders to everything, and without the violence that aspires to dominate everything. This is a shorter message than normal, but it contains so much more. You see, the wise spirits are bringing to you and I a way to see things. He explained to us what happens in nature around us with the understanding that we are all interconnected. What happens to me, what happens to you, affects all that live around us, because the universe lies on a system of faith. The laws that govern the universe are the same for all the beings in all the kingdoms of life, the ones we know and the ones we are not yet able to know, based on our current understanding of science and knowledge on the planet Earth. Yet, we are able to appreciate the need for the faith, the trusting in God, that even though it is difficult for you and I to be in this world, to be of this world, God is providing for you and I. You have today the opportunity to use not just faith and go about the majority of people who declare themselves without faith, yet we go through life, we eat, trusting uh, that our stomach is going to digest the food, the intestine is going to absorb the elements, and the blood is going to transfer the nutrients all over. We do things trusting in our hands. We travel trusting the machines that carry us. So let's move from this blind faith to reasoned faith, because he says that the spiritual doctrine comes to awaken the creatures to reasoned faith. So when we see something, when we see someone, when we read something, just like we're doing today, we reason with the message. What is the message telling me? How are the good spirits choosing each and every word to convey that teaching to you and I? And how can I apply? Ultimately, it can be beautiful to say beautiful words. It can be magical to look for certain people who speak well and admire and find it beautiful. But ultimately, we want to apply. We would apply reason, faith to everything that you and I do. So we trust in God. We have faith that God and divine providence, which is God's care for all creatures, according to the book Genesis by Allan Kardec, that divine providence has all the resources that you and I need for this lifetime and many, many more lifetimes, all around the universe, all creatures. For those who are starting their internship in the spirit world, in the spirit kingdom, the human experience, all the way to the angelic beings that direct the evolution of this planet. So I hope that this morning you can appreciate the beauty that surrounds you, the wisdom that surrounds you, the physical laws that surrounds everything, the chemical and biological laws that take care of all of the beings on this planet. And I want you to admire that and see how the animals and the plants and the minerals, because ultimately the earth is an ecosystem of all of those kingdoms, including ours. How beautiful is that trust? How is that mindfulness of being present in the moment, of appreciating what you have and have contentment for what you have already acquired. And let's use our reason of faith to understand that we are more than this physical experience, that we chose to reincarnate, knowing that we would undergo the difficulties of current times, of events that only happen once in a lifetime, such as the pandemic, that you and I have chosen this, and it's for our own knowledge, it's for our own growth, and everything shall pass. So better times will come when the earth, in its planetary transition, we are still a world of trial and expiations, but one day when we get to the regeneration stage, we will have an opportunity to reap the benefits of the goodness that you and I sow each and every day. So with the trust in God that you and I will be together again next week, same place, same time, Spirit Society of Richmond YouTube and Facebook, Kardec Radio YouTube and Facebook. Please go ahead, share these teachings, do all the things that we need to co-create with God, spreading the good news of Jesus everywhere we go. Thank you so very much for the opportunity to be together with you today. And until I can see you again next week, I wish you many, many blessings.